flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. The minutes are being reported to aid in the preparation. Approval of the minutes for August 6th and the 11th. When do you want that? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 6th and August 11th, 2014.
Second.
Everybody moved and seconded to approve the minutes for the 6th and the 11th of August. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Visitors.
Reverend Robinson,
Is not here?
Bob Schaefer,
Not at this time.
Bob Johnson,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Supervisor Peters.
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Reports of the professional staff. Engineers report.
Okay. Do you all have a copy of our report that's dated for today's date? Okay. All right. Pretty much the Sunshine Hills Water Treatment and Storage Project is what we're reporting on tonight, and I have tonight some applications that need to be filed, one being the land development plan, one being the erosion and sedimentation control plan and stormwater plan, and the stream crossing permit, which is a GP5, as well as I'm going to be making submissions to the county and the township for the land development plan and to the township engineer. I will need signatures on the Perry County land development plan application, which needs to be signed and dated right here. On the GP5, the general permit for the utility line stream crossing, I'll need some signatures and dates, and at the appropriate places where they're tabbed. Okay. And then on the NPDES permit application, I'll need some signatures and dates where they're tabbed again. Also on this one, being that it's an NPDES permit, they do like to see original signatures. So this also needs to be notarized, so we'll have to submit this. And I was talking to Mr. Knob, and he said Helen Klein Peters a notary, and so I don't know if that's something that you can get notarized within the next day or two by Helen. So these I'm submitting tonight for signatures. In addition to that, we had requested some checks, 4 checks to be exact. One for the erosion control plan, $480 payable to the Perry County Clean Water Fund, $500 for the NPDES general permit, and the $500 made payable to the Perry County Clean Water Fund. the DEP earth disturbance application, $200 payable to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Clean Water Fund, and then we have a Perry County Planning Commission application in the amount of $75 made payable to the Perry County Planning Commission. The township did have a $75 fee. They had waived that, from what I understand. They took action on that at their last meeting in regards to the land development plan application fee for the authority. Also, I have a geotechnical report that was completed by F.T. Kitlinski. It's pretty generic in the results and the outcome. They reported in what they found. They hit bedrock 6 feet below ground surface and so forth. All those.
How far?
6 feet. Top of bedrock was 6 feet below ground surface. So this is for your files. That's your copy. I had instructed F.T. Kitlinski just to directly bill the authority. I don't know if you've received that yet. The report's dated. We received it on August 25th. Okay. This information will be included in the technical specifications for the water storage tank that will be in the bid documents for the contract, for the general construction contract. The next thing is we're working on the electrical design and finalizing the general contract. There will be 2 contracts, one being general, one being electrical, because of the type of work and the value of each type of work. So we'll have 2 separate contracts, which is pretty typical for a project of this size. Okay. That's pretty much. We're just submitting these applications for review. It's understood, I think, previously that possibly the township will probably waive the stormwater requirements, but we still need to do a stormwater report and submit that for the NPDES requirements that will be reviewed accordingly for that to meet those requirements. Also, I had a call from Amy Davis on August 22nd. She had asked me to just give a summary of phases 3, 4, and 5. I had distributed that email back to all the authority members and to the authority office. And she had asked for the footage of the phases 3, 4, and 5, I guess for future grant applications, and the dollar amount for that, which we came up with about $386,000, and then I put a 10% contingency on that. So it came up to $425,000. So, any questions? Any concerns with the project?
If we ended up having the money available at the present moment, how soon could we start?
We're in the process of finalizing the electrical. That's taken a little more time than what I anticipated, especially with being over the summer. The guy's working on it is an outside consultant, and I'm thinking probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We'll have to advertise, get that completed, advertise.
4 to 6 weeks for construction, or
No, to get that finalized. And I want to review that. I know Mr. Ox had made mention too. I need to meet with him. There's an abandoned septic system up at the site that we have to locate on the plans ultimately. Yeah.
I can give you a general idea.
Okay.
It's on that lot.
Well, that's good. I kind of expected as much, but anyway. One other thing, not regarding Sunshine Hills, is I spoke to John Mellon regarding the Morrison project. I know he did not submit his record drawings to the authority. I had requested that he submit those, and they are here. He did submit those, and they're here tonight at tonight's meeting. So you do have those.
Mylars with them?
I don't know if he submitted Mylars or not, because he submitted directly to you guys.
We need 3 copies of that, plus a Mylar copy.
How many did he submit? I don't know. He submitted 1. I'll call him and let him know.
2 more and a Mylar.
Yeah.
So with all these permits,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that we're gonna have, some of these permits should not have an impact on us starting with the water system up on top of it. Am I correct? Because some of them are gonna have a long-term turnaround.
Well, we'll need to have the stream crossing, we'll have to have that in hand before we can do any of that work.
But we can do the water system up top.
Well, we need the land development plan approval, which I don't think is gonna be that much of an issue, but, I mean, I say that, but, because it's an authority project for the township. So, I'm assuming that that's not gonna be a problem. Stormwater management plan and E&S control plan, I think we should probably get those rather quickly, I'm hoping.
Because the stream crossing permit's 120 days.
Yeah, but we can phase that, I think, to, you know.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
If this comes to fruition, where it's
Yeah.
got a gap.
But if we're working directly on the site, I think E&S would be, we should be able to get that, and hopefully the stormwater pretty quickly. Stream crossing might take a little bit extra time.
Okay.
Okay?
When do you anticipate this to come before the supervisors?
The land development plan?
Yes.
Well, we're going to be making, hopefully, a submission. I'll be dropping the plans off this Friday morning. And so you'll have the plan, well, you'll have it, right, I think you'll have it before that, but I think it needs to be submitted 15 days prior. Yeah. And I'm going to be, I talked to Helen Klein, Peter, and Helen had asked me to directly submit a copy to your engineer at Route 2, Max Schradley, and I said I'd do that.
Does this
And
have to go through the county before it can come before the town?
I need to submit to the county as well, but usually county review comments, we should have those probably prior to, not this meeting, but the following meeting.
So we should look at it in October.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
sure.
Now, are we going under that stream or over it? You're talking about.
We're going over the stream because what it is there's like a land bridge in there where there's a culvert that
Right.
goes over the stream, and we're between the culvert and the top of the embankment land bridge. So, but we still need to file for the permit.
That's something we might want to look at there too, because that culvert is in bad shape and it's not ours.
You would think
So
the same.
one down there at
Yeah.
coming off the road.
Right.
Oh, it's awful.
Yes. Yeah. Now, how do you get it upgraded? I don't know.
You're saying where we're making the crossing?
Yep.
I think there's 2 culverts in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I think there's 3 pipes in there. but
Well, it might be
all of
3.
them- All of them are bad.
Yeah, I remember seeing 2. I don't know if there might be a third one in there as well, but there's, yeah,
There's also one right at Butcher Shop Road
okay.
that may not be the township's.
Right at, okay, that
There's-
crosses that driveway.
It's under that driveway,
Yeah.
right at the edge of Butcher Shop Road, which,
Yeah, and it's beat up.
and it may not be the township, so it may be harder to deal with
Mhm.
the do's and don'ts of that. Right now, we're not impacted by it because we stopped beforehand, before it gets that far. But with our proposal, we will be impacting that one that goes under that driveway. You know what I mean? Okay.
Do you know where he's talking about, Randy?
No, I have an idea, but I can't visual, because I'm thinking where the road that goes up past the,
Right, it goes under that road
okay,
and goes over right there at the edge of.
where
the-
Roush's
where the-
property goes,
Where the tree line is,
mm-hmm.
goes right in, where that old wild cherry tree is, right there at the corner before it comes out.
Mm.
It parallels Butcher Shop.
Okay, because there is a,
Outright, there's one there that parallels Butcher Shop.
yeah,
This one I'm talking about comes straight off of that driveway, it goes up through there.
But I think there's one that parallels Butcher Shop that. and-
There is one that parallels Butcher Shop and goes along that little stream.
And
there.
probably joins into the one that you're
Randy.
talking about.
Mhm.
With those lines being in the condition they are, and it's listed here, what would be the best way to address that?
to get the lines upgraded?
I'm gonna say probably, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be better to do it now than later.
Well,
They belong to
we're gonna have to figure out.
Eichelberger,
ownership stuff.
Shadow, Yingst, and,
Eichelberger.
no, I said Eichelberger. Come on. Harbath.
I mean, we gotta at least discuss it with them, you know what I'm saying, Dennis, because
Well-
put them in after the fact.
Well, here's the thing though, our permit is to go through this, across the stream. We're trying to minimize any disturbance to the stream bed. Now that negates everything that we tried, you know.
That's what I'm getting at here, I mean.
Yeah,
Where I'm coming from is it's not gonna do us a bit of good to put brand new pipe in there.
right, I
And then have
understand.
it wash out.
Yeah,
I mean, it is gonna be ductile iron, right?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We could concrete encase it to help, you know, but still, I understand your, yeah. You know, but, so if you want to do that,
That's a new permit.
well, we could probably have it be part of the same permit. I mean, we should know that now before we file the permit. You know what I'm, because it's, the permit for that one was, what was that was, the general permit, wow.
Can we apply for it, and if we don't do it, we don't do it? That way it keeps the process going. That way we have the paperwork to keep it going.
I've got it in the front of that folder here. Sam
Yeah.
opens it up and looks.
Is that possible?
What's that?
He's looking for the cost
in
of the
the
of that. That was the
Yeah, it
NPD.
is
You're
the
talking about the
permit.
NPDES permit?
Well, it's a general permit, and, yeah.
Here's your email.
Well, and I got it right here, yeah.
Yeah, 500.
Yeah, I don't see why.
I think it is the $500 one, yeah.
Yeah. Erosion and control is 480.
Yeah. I think it is.
There is an earth disturbance
Yeah,
one.
it's part of the GP5, yeah, is the, yep, be $500. So, otherwise, we'd have to make another separate permit
I'm saying maybe we
application.
ought to combine this whole thing.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, and,
Do it, and whether we use it or not, we can still hash the rest of this out while that's going on. Because that's, you're looking at, unless it's,
right, well, then
You're
it
looking
might
at
have another
120 days here.
another separate approval.
yeah, and another 120 days on a separate permit too, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So. And chances are, we're gonna get it on the 119th day.
What are the lines that you're talking about, are they stormwater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't know, if you don't think they're township?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're not township.
It seems to me, I looked at,
We've worked on that, you and I have been
That's-
working on that before
I
because.
can't remember,
Couple-
but I can quote it though.
That's a,
That's a proposed.
no, that was, we were having problems with it washing out. Mr. Harbath wanted us to work on it because it was causing problems in his property. And you and I looked at it. I mean, we didn't go out on site to look at it, but we discussed it and we determined that it's not our responsibility, it belongs to somebody else.
But I think there is a right of way across the Henning.
Yeah, we do have a
Yeah.
right of way across
We
it
do, yeah.
because our pipe is on it.
Right,
So we do have the ability to replace that, to keep our right of way functional.
you do, but what it does is it probably changes what we did in what we're showing on the plan, because now we're just going across it, we're trying to stay above the pipe to minimize any disturbance, which kind of is probably a better approach from their viewpoint in that we're you know, but if you're going to do that with replacing the actual culvert pipe for
I
the,
think you only have about 3 or 4 feet above those pipes.
yeah, it's not, but what I'm saying, what we'll have to do is we'll have to probably show additional details in that we are now having a stream diversion where we'll have to put in a coffer dam. So when water does come, you can put it, dam it up, pump it to get it around the excavation, and things like that. We'll have to write it up as such, yeah. Because you're gonna be working in the stream bed, yeah, which is a whole different set of circumstances.
I got a concern there, because we can get our frost line from the top, but what about from the bottom?
Well, you're only having that intersection of where that pipe would cross over that. So you should probably have sufficient insulation value in the adjoining, area, the ground to insulate the pipe. I thought of that as well earlier, but,
Does that flow all the time down through there, Sam?
Yeah, pretty much, but it's not really, not a lot of water, but it does flow year round.
What's everybody else's opinion? I mean, it could end up becoming an issue at a later date. I mean, I see the situation. Now you say there's 3 pipes?
I know there's 2. I think there's 3, but I know there's 2.
Would it be a big financial undertaking to replace a section of them or not?
I don't know what it would cost to get an excavator just to dig them out and throw a piece of 38 or 48 inch pipe in there and then cover it back up again, 36 or 48 rather.
But what's in there now?
they don't have.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guess what's in there now. It's supposed to be, I think it's 24 or 36 that's in there now. But it's like some of it is corrugated, or and there's some of it that looks like it's old water heaters with the ends cut out and stuck together. So I honestly don't know.
The idea thing would be to put a piece of plastic in it while you're digging the trench, opening it up, and putting that in.
Well,
And that's what you're thinking too, right, Sam?
If we're going to do it, we may as well do it and do it right.
Thinking it just, see if you can get the consent of these property owners and get in there.
I was gonna say, there's 4 property owners, you have to get their consent to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's about ours,
It's our right of way, but it's
it's
not
not our
our
pipes.
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't consent.
Can I ask a question? Didn't Mr. Yanks propose his sewer line to come right down through there too, at some point?
At one time.
Yeah, but that was before he changed.
Yeah, no, I understand. My
Yes.
question's gonna be, doesn't he own the majority of that now? I don't know.
I don't know exactly where
Yeah.
those lines are.
Yeah.
Mr. Chateau might not own any of it, but I'm just saying he's,
Yeah.
in the general area there.
Um,
I know Mr. Eichelberger and Mr. Horvath do, and Mr. Yanks does, but I don't know exactly.
If there's no
what the
flow on the
proportion is on
system,
that.
do they need to be, or is it just, if they were used as a storm, how can I say this?
Well, it's a drainage swell, and whether it would be called, if there's not continuous water flowing through it now, it'd still be called an intermittent stream by DEP standards. And even within an intermittent stream, if it's not flowing continuously, you still need to file for a permit application for the crossing or disturbing the stream bed.
Well, see, that's tough to say, about intermittent stream, because I have seen it dry.
Yeah.
Now, this year, there's no way you're gonna see a dry
Yeah.
stream bed. But,
Well, don't you think we ought to see if every one of those people would agree to it before we spend money on doing it? I mean.
well, they're not, well, are we gonna put it in at our cost, or are we gonna, put it in and then split the difference
I
and
don't
bill
know,
those
what are
folks?
we gonna do?
That's something you wanna consider, because I'm sure,
But before we start, we
the
oughta-
majority, if we're gonna put it in at our cost,
Oh,
I'm
hell.
sure everybody's gonna say, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Sure,
But,
well, I don't know.
Or you just leave it alone.
you're right, you could leave it alone, leave it right the way it's at, but
And then when it becomes a problem, it gets addressed.
It's not really our problem, it's their problem, unfortunately.
Is that the agreement?
It is.
Is that the agreement?
I don't know whose agreement, who made any agreements. All I know is we have a right of way across it.
Right. But I mean, would that be the easiest way of doing it? And then if there's an issue, then we can address it as such. I mean, it's tough to learn. Like you said, if you want to encase it, that's another option, but I mean, it's to dig underneath at a later date. It's not that much of a risk, you know what I'm saying?
still support itself, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like trying to delve into that now is gonna get a little cumbersome.
Yeah, I think so,
Time.
And somebody ain't gonna dig our water line up when they hit that duct wire, and they're gonna know they hit it, so it's not one of the things that ain't gonna be hard to find.
Who took the car out of it, Sam?
I don't know, but that's what started the
I'm
problem.
trying to remember who paid to take the car out of
I
it.
don't know. Wasn't us, I know that.
They parked the car on it and then it collapsed and the car fell in the hole.
Well, they had, you know, it's like at the beach. You take your car down to the beach, park it along on the sand line. When the tide comes in, it washes the water out on it or dirt out from underneath it. That's exactly what happened there. They had a car sitting back here. They had a big rainstorm and the water went over top of it, washed all the dirt out away from it.
Hmm.
That's what started the problem.
Mm.
I think it was John Jones lived there then, or the Joneses lived in there then. And we made them responsible to remove the car.
Let it alone, that's consensus. It can always be repaired later. Okay.
Okay.
Brandon, if you start and we don't have the approval from CDBG, are we gonna run into any problem, or is that not a problem?
Well, as far as funding is
Yes.
concerned,
I think we have funding enough to do phase one. don't we?
Well, that's, yeah, but I'm talking about the $500,000 application that we have.
Oh, is it gonna jeopardize that? Is
Yes,
you're
that's what I'm asking Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to ask Amy Davis. If you took it upon yourself to do the project, you might have run into jeopardy of getting any other future applications approved, because it's gonna look as though you don't need the funding, that's what I would think.
That's it. Now.
So what are we gonna do, sit back and wait for that whole system to blow up in our face before we can do anything?
Yeah.
Well,
We're in a catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say we try to find out from Amy again if we get another answer,
yeah,
which we probably won't, but
well,
I asked our secretary if she heard anything from Amy, and she says she
I
hasn't.
think we ought to check before we start anyway.
everything else is good to go though? Plans, drawings, pretty much basic?
Well, we gotta finalize the bid documents in the electrical, so it'll be two separate contracts.
Which would be, what's the time frame on that?
Well, that's with everything probably, in that 6-week time frame.
Okay. So in 6 weeks, basically, we could be ready to do something. that-
Advertise,
Advertise.
we'll be ready, hopefully, yeah.
6 weeks, we'll be ready to advertise for bid.
If everything goes as planned.
We're committed.
So that's what I'm saying. Now we got something we can tell Amy,
Yep.
give us a guideline and see what we can do with this, okay?
Yeah.
I'd suggest you talk to Helen and the engineer whether this needs to go to the planning commission. If it needs to go to the planning commission.
Oh, the land development plan?
Yeah.
Oh, from what I understand, it will. That's,
Because we meet the third Monday of the month.
yeah,
And if we can get it expedited to give it to the supervisors at the end of this month, it'll save a month's worth
Yeah.
of time.
yeah. Yeah, I've already talked to Helen, and I said I'd try to be bringing these applications and things and with the checks. I'm gonna be dropping off the plans to her hopefully Friday morning.
Okay.
And then I'll be taking them to the county thereafter and to the conservation district at the county. So that's the plan. And I'll either get them to Max on Friday or Monday for the township engineer, or two.
The sooner the better, that way
Yeah.
we can comment at the planning commission meeting.
So,
Sam. So you want to hand them around the bills?
okay.
Pass those down that way
What else do you have?
for them to look at.
I think that's it for now. We already talked about the ward property. And as I stated before, I spoke to Aikens Engineering, and they had asked me some questions, and I told them they need to get the developer specifications and so forth. And that was several weeks back, so I haven't heard anything else in regards to that project.
Do you know, or have you heard anything from Alpha?
No. For Stone Mill Estates?
Yes.
No.
Anything else for the engineer?
You'll need to sign here, dated. This will need to be notarized.
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Henry will sign here.
Henry,
Yep, date that. And then that will need to be notarized. That's all.
all right. Who signs here?
Nobody. This is just a co-applicant.
Okay,
It's,
all right,
and then notarized.
okay.
And then if he signs this, I'll put the information up here.
Okay,
Okay.
so this is Henry, or is it the secretary?
Hey, Henry could sign it.
Okay. All right,
Can I ask one question in reference to the ward property? Back in February, March, and April, we were talking about him having everything submitted, everything ready to go by May, and then it was June. Is there a reason there's been continuously delays?
Just, it's the same thing as that.
right,
And I'll fill that out there.
okay.
Okay. We've been working on the project, and it's just been, we've been working through some issues as far as we needed the geotechnical report done and the electrical design done. Like I said earlier, that the electrical engineer that we're using, he's a small operation, and it's just taking him some more time to work on this project because he's working on other multiple projects.
Okay, so we are entering into fall again. Are we going to come back and hear him say?
No, I've talked to him and met with him, and we're actually got information to him where he can actually, we've had multiple discussions on the project. And ultimately what I want to do is I'd like to come back to probably Mr. Ox and Mr. Chisholm and show them what we've come up with from an electrical standpoint to make sure they're okay with everything as designed electrically. So because there's going to be issues as far, not issues, but modes of operation, and make sure they're okay how things are planned to be operated from an instrumentation control electrical standpoint. So I'm looking to do that here pretty
Are
soon.
you talking about the ward property? Because I think that's what he's.
Oh, the ward.
Yes, the ward's property.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Sunshine Hills.
No,
I'm
the
sorry.
ward's property.
Oh. I'm sorry. I was on Sunshine Hills.
Ward, that's what I thought. I'm sorry, I misinterpreted him too. Ward's
Just
property,
just read.
that's been underneath.
I
Just
did
one
say the ward's
person
property,
signing.
didn't I?
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
I thought I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
I apologize.
And I'm probably.
And you were talking.
And
I heard it because I wrote down ward.
I
but-
Oh, I thought you were addressing that to me, and I apologize. I spoke out of turn.
That is underneath the realms of DEP at the present moment,
That's correct.
Okay.
okay?
That's just the cover sheet.
So is that what's been holding it up, DEP?
If DEP wishes to pursue it and push it harder, that is
So
their
I was
discretion.
hoping-
We are ready for him to hook up to our system, okay?
I can't
It
miss
is
this
not-
either.
He was here
Last month.
last month.
Yeah.
And he's in, like I said, I don't know where it's heading, but one of these days DEP's just gonna say, hey, this is it, we're done.
But it's about time, I
And they
think.
pull the
So there's
plug
been
on
no
it.
more
I mean,
extensions
we-
from the-
We've been
We
sending.
have not given any.
You had not given
No.
it. Now
We have not
it's
given
back to
another one.
DEP for them
Yes.
to.
And we notified DEP, what, a month and a half ago,
Yes.
and that kept things moving again. So we've been letting DEP know every so often that we're not hearing nothing, we don't know where this is at, it's up to them to make sure that everything is working out well. They're the ones
This
that
one right
gotta be
here.
satisfied with what Mr. Ward
You
is
just
doing.
need to sign and date it.
Yes,
Okay.
okay, we are
And then
ready
what
for
I'll
him
do,
to do
if
a
you can
connection
just
to us.
leave
He
on
was
this
here to
with
discuss
Helen,
his ideas
and
with
then
us, what
Friday
he wishes to
morning
do.
I'll just
We have
distribute
not
it,
seen
mailings.
a
Okay.
design or anything in regards to that though.
And is that what this here is?
No,
No,
that's something different,
something different.
yes, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Now, I do have a question for you.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Rumor has it Market Street Bridge will be open Friday or Saturday. All right. Once that is complete, when can we issue connection permit or connection notices to the Duncan Beer Distributor and Road Hog?
Well, let me check with Gatilius and PennDOT and see where that is.
If I can fill you in, Sam, I talked to Matt, he's the engineer foreman down there running that. He said that they're going to be finishing laying the blacktop tomorrow. They have some other touch-ups to do. It could be late Friday or Saturday morning. Bridge will be
Yeah, I
open.
talked to him this morning.
Okay, all right.
I had a PA1 call down there.
Okay.
Asking when he was going to.
And we did look back at that drop connection, and what happened was they've installed both drop connections, as I reported at the last meeting. Our guy reviewed it, and the one on our side, the drop connection is going in more at a 90-degree angle to the channel. They did not solvent weld that 90-degree bend in there, and it could be turned to have it more of a directional flow towards the channel, towards the outlet of the manhole.
Glad you mentioned that.
Because, yeah,
Glad you mentioned that. Should the repair of that be a JOAC issue or should it not? Because it was of that manhole. It's my understanding that it wasn't functioning properly to begin with. That's the one that they said was full
yeah,
and was overflowing like a waterfalls in there.
it was.
Did we get a bill for that?
Huh?
Did we get a
I
bill?
don't know. We should have. It cost us $34,000 to do that work at least down there. So a portion of that should be JOAC because that's a joint manhole.
Yeah.
And it was not just done for us. It was done for.
Or did they mail them a separate bill
I
to
don't
do
know.
that change?
Don't know.
That's something that needs to be, I agree with you, we can discuss that,
Monday.
yeah.
So what I was getting at was that bend could be physically turned a little bit. It's not, but evidently it wasn't an issue to the borough people. So it may become an issue, but from what I understand, it can be physically turned and adjusted slightly to help,
Okay. I
you know,
understand what you're
help the
saying.
flow go more direct to the direction of the outlet of the manhole.
Okay.
So, just so you're aware, it might come up, but we did look at that.
That's not an outside drop now. Like the normal manholes are outside drop. This is an inside
There are
drop.
two inside. Yours is an inside, and now the borough's is an inside. It was an outside, now they converted it to an inside. So in that manhole alone, there's two inside drops, one being the authorities, one being the boroughs. That's how they corrected the borough's problem, is they converted it from an outside to an inside. If that makes sense to you. But
So they may have just billed us for ours and built them for the other one.
That's what I'm starting to think what happened, because they were dealing with Duncan direct.
I don't know. We'll have to check it.
We'll
out.
double check that, okay?
Yeah.
And I'll check with PennDOT, see if I can get a hold of them to see if there's clearance for you to be allowed to connect to the line. Okay.
So you are going to check with them to find out
Yep.
when they're going to turn that line over to us, correct?
Yep. That's,
Okay.
Anything for him, the engineer?
I think I covered everything on my list.
So you're saying 6 weeks from now, we will
Yep.
be ready to do what we want to
October
do?
15th, thereabouts.
And are you gonna check with Amy, or are we?
I'll call Amy.
All right,
I have a note here to call Amy.
okay.
I'll call John Mellum about getting 2 additional paper copies and a reproducible Mylar. And then I'll call PennDOT to see when you can have clearance for that line to be turned over for connection to the beer distributor.
You need to impress upon Amy the need to get on this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
One way or the other. We need to know one way or the other, whether we get the money or don't get the damn money.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have these checks, I assume we'll approve them tonight, for you to be signed for then, Randy, okay?
Yep, and I'm going to try to be here Friday at the township, so if you want to just leave everything with Helen, because you guys don't get in until 10:30, right?
Do we need a motion?
We're not
to
even
sign
open
the
tomorrow.
Oh, no, Friday.
permits and
Nobody's
stuff?
here Friday either.
Oh,
So it means I'll be
Do
doing
we
some
need a
things
motion to
tonight.
sign?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I have to come in tomorrow. I've got to go up to New Bloomfield tomorrow anyway, so I'll be coming in this way.
It wouldn't hurt to have.
So if you could just leave with Helen, and then I'll just give her the plans, give her the
Yeah, we'll get these-
applications.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't hurt.
These, Henny has to sign these tonight.
yep.
Do you want me to make a-
And will she
Should I ask
notarize
him
it
whether
without
he-
him
Yeah,
being
see if
present?
he,
I
I'm
guess?
not sure if it.
I
you
don't know,
think
we
it
have to
was
ask
done
him
yet.
what happened the last time.
Yeah.
Unless it was part of the approval. of the
Randy.
project.
For the signing of those the applications that you're asking us to do now, did we approve, to do that earlier, or do we need to do it tonight so we can sign it?
It's part of the project. I
Well,
guess,
There's certainly no downside to approving
Right,
it.
right.
If it's
yeah,
duplicative, so be it.
right.
All right, if you remember what the applications are, I'd like to pose that we authorize the signing of the following applications.
Okay. One would be the land development plan application to Penn Township.
All right,
One would be the land development plan application to the Perry County Planning Commission.
okay?
And part of that land development plan is we're making a submission to the township engineer too, so that's all part of that process.
Okay.
You'll even receive a
Don't
copy.
confuse my secretary.
Yeah. We'll need to have an erosion and sedimentation control plan submitted for review and approval. And we'll need to have the stormwater management plan reviewed and submitted for approval. And we'll have the stream crossing permit, GP5 NPDS needs to be,
Five.
yeah,
5 of them, okay.
right.
All right. That's my motion.
Second.
We're moving seconded.
I did not hear who seconded it.
Now,
And we're moving and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
Stream crossing, yeah,
Yeah, this is,
all right.
that's all part of what I gave you.
Okay. So even though there's 5 of them, it's
Well,
really only,
I have the township one because it doesn't,
okay.
I signed it as the agent. She
Okay.
said I could do that when I talked to her.
Anything else for the engineer? I don't see anything else on old business or new business. Anybody else have anything? I think you're good to go.
All right. Thank you.
Let us know if there's any delays in these permits or anything.
Right.
Okay, operators reports and DMRs.
We'll start off with DMRs. Do you have any questions on the DMRs that have been circulated? And if so, or if you come up with them later, please don't hesitate. Give me a call at any time.
Anything out of the ordinary, Mr. Operator?
Not in the DMRs, other than the info on BOD was pretty low on one of them, but really doesn't have negative effect.
Does Henry have to sign for
Moving on
the
from that.
secretary? Can Elmer or?
We have,
the chairman down. If you do that, just put cross it out.
there
Put
was a
secretary down.
Okay, because it's easier to get them.
seal
there if
light
she needs
coming
him.
on
Okay.
Just
at one of the pumps at Lower Duncannon Pump Station. Sam, along with Lanker, pulled the pump, replaced it with the new one we had purchased several years ago to have a standby spare. We sent out the removed pump, which has been in since 1992.
I assume there's a sister to that pump too, am I correct?
Yes,
And it's been in there as long?
yeah, as long.
Okay.
So we immediately sent out the one we pulled to Heim. And the criteria that Sam's usually used was 60%, I think, of cost of a new one to repair the old one. Or was it, wasn't it 60?
60%.
Yeah. The bottom line is repairs on the old one is $4,950. There's not a new one available from Gould's, who were the builders of the pumps. They're saying, Heim said that they don't make that pump anymore. Sam pursued a replacement pump by a different manufacturer. And we got information back, but we don't have the price, which makes the information a little hard to make a decision.
Not necessarily. The pump that we got the information back from is going to take some modification in our system to make it work. The Barnes, Ed got quotes for a Barnes pump, which would also require modifications to our system to make it work. So
But our pumps are rebuildable?
our pumps are rebuildable, yes.
I was about to say that my recommendation is going to be to have the one we sent down rebuilt. I think we paid $6,000 for the replacement that we put in about 4 years or 5 years ago, that we had just for standby,
Right.
because remember it took 6 weeks to get one at the time, and now they're not available. What Heim's telling me is they're going to all but redo it completely, rewind it, impellers, volute, wiring, harness going to it. I'm really leaning towards having this one rebuilt. I think Sam is too, but it's the authority's call. It's the best part of $5,000, but on the other side, if we go with a different pump and don't go through Heim, we're going to owe them for inspecting and the recommendation.
I'm in agreement of doing that, because then that gives us a chance if the other one goes bad. We have 2 good pumps in there, we have a decent life expectancy on it. And even if we spend another 5 on the other one to repair it, we should have a longevity term on this, and then at that time we will realize it's time to do a complete retrofit of that whole well.
And I think the authority's looking into
You see what I'm saying,
rebuilding.
Sam?
I understand exactly what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
if you get another 10 or 15 years out of that, you're not even gonna be able to get the parts for Heim to replace.
That wet well is the next one on
Be
our
rebuilt.
stainless steel conversion wet well. And I've asked Lanker to give me some quotes, a quote on that to repair that. and he has not gotten back to me yet on that. But that's a good point. You know, whenever we make the.
I mean, I really don't wanna go in there and start changing everything around until we make sure we have good piping hooked to it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
everything else, you know?
And even if we, I mean, the thinking is really, if you come right down to it, we just put a new one down there.
Yep.
50% of it's been replaced. If you decide to go ahead and repipe that manhole as it was originally, I think that's a wise move, since we have one new pump down there, and we have the second one that will be all but new. And then, when the time comes, hopefully we can still get the third one rebuilt.
Yep.
Okay, that's just the recommendations, unless somebody comes back with a number so astounding on a new pump that we have to reconsider our position. We're gonna go ahead and tell Heim to rebuild that one, okay?
If I'm not mistaken, that pump system is designed right now to accommodate tying into this new line we put across the bridge anyhow,
I believe so.
okay?
Yeah.
They designed that flow rate for these pump packages, so if we have to, then we gotta go through some.
What
if
we
anything,
did do was
we
ask
have to
these,
buy- if we do put a new package in, we're gonna buy one that's a little bit hotter than what this one is for its ability.
what we did ask these people to do was match the pump curves and pumping rate of the one that went bad.
Okay.
All right, so that's the story on that one. Where you want to go with that is up to you, and if you want us to go ahead and authorize Heim to work on that, I think it's a smart move.
I don't have a problem with that. Do we hear a motion? Wanna make a motion on it?
We're going to go ahead and get a price on this one because it's easy enough to do, but unless it's some number that's really outrageously
Right.
low, I think we ought to go ahead with the other situation. And I think that's Sam's feelings on it too.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do a retrofit down there, you ought to replace the whole dang assembly down there, rails, and if you're gonna do one, you wanna do the whole wet well. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm trying to say?
And we just put a new pump down there. Okay. I don't know whether you need a motion to go ahead and have them fix.
You're spending $4,000, you need a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make it.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded to give the approval to have the pump rebuilt by Heim,
$49.50.
$49.50. All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Make it happen.
Okay,
Anything else?
Couple, if you could pull out the field representative's report.
Yep.
So I can discuss a couple items on there with you that I got involved with. In particular, third item, spoke with council member from Duncannon Church of God. Their parsonage was having on and off cloudy water. And then we had an episode 2 or 3 doors down on, which is
103 Jefferson.
yeah, 103 Jefferson Street. We believe these items both came from the flushing of the lines, cloudy water, and these would have been almost like 3 taps, two taps with one in between on the same line. In other words, they were all very near the end of that Jefferson Street line that terminates in front of Moore's. Sam happened to be away when they were going to try to flush the line to the Church of God, but Sam and I had talked about it. They never get to their threshold of water supply use at the Church of God. In other words, the 5,000 they get it per quarter, they usually never get there. So we're just telling them to go ahead and flush that line without us taking a reading on their water meter beforehand. It seemed to be no reason to do that. If they do exceed their 5,000 gallons per quarter, I think the authority would be wise to dismiss any extra charges. I don't expect them to be unreasonable with running the garden hose for a half hour or 45 minutes to flush. What happens is Jefferson Street goes this way, and here's Moore's end of point. Right here, there's a line that goes down the whole way to the parsonage and to the church that dead ends, and there's no way to flush it. So running the line at the church does sort of flush that line. We gave them permission to do that. Those are the two items on here that are somewhat related. Along with that, I think Sam and I have agreed that we're gonna start flushing 3 times a year. To help alleviate
At least,
the problem.
at least until we get our new system in.
Okay.
Flushing is very tedious with the small amount of storage. Okay.
Well, I guess we need to make sure we put flush valves there, because we can't tie the whole thing together.
That's what all the fire hydrants are for.
Well,
All the fire hydrants that are gonna be
we
around.
have them located at the end of the.
They'll be at the end.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way, at least that's what I specified to the engineer to make them at the end of the runs.
Okay.
In regards to the Randy Rohr concern of damages to the Cove pump station for the pumping out, that's the 3rd paragraph above the list of next month. Our mower, Mr. Handmaker, neighbor to the Cove treatment plant, also mows and maintains that area down there, started to haul dirt in to fill that in. He sort of did that on his own.
I was wondering who did that. With that, to go along, Klein is supposed to be there tomorrow. Their people were supposed to be in there tomorrow to fill those ruts and stuff in.
Okay, so Mr. Handmaker had already taken a load down his little dump cart because he said it was so hard to mow over. Okay?
So that's being addressed?
Yes.
Okay.
While it's in the budget and not necessarily have to be reviewed again, work, I understand, is going to commence on replacement of the blowers at King Court.
You may need to talk about that, what our desires are and where you're at. And
It is going to commence.
It is going to
Yes.
mess, okay.
We're gonna buy new stuff. No more old blowers, no more old motors.
Okay.
New blowers.
You still
new
gonna
motors.
oversize the line?
Yeah. There is in the budget, blower and motors have been budgeted for many years for the King Court location. We'll probably take them out of capital reserve this time. I just want to sort of bring it up to the authority that we need to act there. Those blowers have been in service since 1993, continuously. And
With those new initiatives, DEP initiatives and stuff, you're gonna need newer blowers anyway, right? To get your numbers where it has to be?
King Cora?
Yeah.
No. But we got permission from DEP to upsize the blowers there. They went along with it. What I think is going to be one of the big advantages there is we're going to see lower sludge disposal costs at King Cora when we can keep air on that longer and digest more of the sludge instead of holding it. This year I expect the sludge budget to be exceeded at King Court. Not drastically, but some. Maybe by 500 or so, I'm hoping that's all it'll be. But I'm just anticipating maybe being able to help recoup some of our monies. Right now, the King Court design is such that it's only got air to the sludge holding tank half the time. That was the way it was designed, which I think is very inefficient for digestion. But we really need to get to that now before it's too cold to do it.
Did you see there was a weed eater attack the place down there the other week?
Yeah, I did notice that. I'm spraying for it. Just don't go to the other side of the building. The side away from the generator.
Oh, okay.
It's about this big now.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid to attack it. It'll
Yeah, I
wrestle
know.
me to the ground. A hornet's nest.
Yep, I seen that.
Okay.
Yep, I avoided that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
How's the roof on that building, shingle wise? You said 1993.
Still pretty good.
All right,
It has, actually has 40-year shingles on.
all right. The reason what I'm saying is here, we have metal roofing available that we can put on there that was left over from the generator sheds.
Mhm.
So whenever the time comes, and put metal roof on it, and not have to worry about it again.
Has those sheds been valuable in regards to keeping?
Oh, yeah,
the
very
maintenance?
nice, very nice.
Keeps the generators under,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
There's, I'm not going to jump the gun, and I wasn't going to bring it up at this time because I don't have, but I will. That wonderful generator that came from Ireland has been a constant problem ever since it's been put in, and Stevenson's not going to be able to keep it under control.
You're talking about the one down at
Cove wastewater.
Cove wastewater, yeah.
The controller on it's constantly failing. And
The generator itself works good.
The
It's
generator
control
works.
package is
Yeah.
weak on it.
exactly right. I would almost be inclined to ask Mr. Stevenson if he can find a replacement controller, something that's generic to all generators. Because if we bring Caterpillar in to work on that controller, you might as well just take out a loan.
Mhm.
And it's never worked right. I would go out of my way to disrecommend that generator to anybody that ever asked me. So don't worry about it now. Let's wait till we find out what it's going to cost and what we can do about it.
Do
And
some
I'll-
investigating.
Well,
as soon as
we
you,
authorize him to get,
Yeah.
to let Mr.
Okay. Good deal.
Stevenson look at it.
yeah, I've had him down there 30 times.
Yep.
And it goes from one thing to the other, but it's always comes back to, it has some kind of problem that it doesn't know what it wants to do. And then the problem goes away for 6 months, comes back again. What I'm gonna ask Mr. Stevenson is if he has any recommendations to replace the controller on it, rather than have Caterpillar repair it.
It's got an Irish attitude.
It's got an attitude, okay?
I think it's a Friday generator.
But just, there's no need to make any, other than the point I'm gonna start investigating what we can do about it permanently.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else for the operator? You just keep nursing along the water system, right?
Yeah,
See anything we need to address here to extend our expectancies over the winter time?
no, not really.
I really don't like to say that because I was kind of hoping we'd be into this a little heavier than that, but it's starting to look like you're gonna get, it's gonna be
I
December.
understand the
December
exasperation. I know what's gonna happen if we do anything to it, because when we talked about Chittacog at the beginning of that, if we did anything major there, that it would jeopardize the
Yep.
funding. But if they're not gonna give us the funding, then what are we jeopardizing?
That's right.
Yeah.
We need to know though. Somebody, you know.
It seems it's just like the other money. It took forever for it to get there, you know, so it's just the way it is.
Things have been pretty good. I don't see anything special going on. I really feel a lot better about things just with the repairs that you guys did that time. But
I don't.
I feel like a bull in the china shop every time I open that door.
it's nothing new.
All right, anything else for him? Thank you for coming to the meeting. It's been a couple times since we've seen you.
Yeah, I know. I don't usually have a whole, I mean, I talk and talk and talk, but there was a couple points that need to get across tonight.
Okay. If we're done with him, we have a field representative.
Okay, I mentioned that I haven't heard anything from Mr. Ward. And it's the first item I have on my field representative report. Shortly after our last month's, our July meeting, I was contacted by Mr. Arbaugh and Mr. Ward regarding the Cove abandonment and the connection to our low pressure system, but I have not heard anything from either one of them before, since then. What prompted that is an email I sent to Mr. Arbaugh regarding the the taco stand that's supposed to be put in down there. I pointed out to Mr. Arbold that Mr. Ward is not downsizing. In fact, he's increasing his output. So we've got nothing, no response from him there, so I have no idea what's going on.
I came up the back road tonight, and it looked like there was activity at the treatment plant area.
I haven't seen anything other than the digging
Now
there.
that was mid-afternoon,
Yeah.
because that wasn't normal quitting time.
And I think that digging that you're seeing down there is they're running the electric line
I believe that's what it
over
is.
to hook everything up, so it's not, so. Ed touched on the cloudy water. I completed the installation of the ceilings of the odor control building. It's down there. So someday I gotta get a garbage bag and get down there and clean up my mess. But other than that, that should be done. And there's ants in the two corners toward the treatment plant. A lot of ants, so we gotta do something about those. And down here in the bottom, I have 3 little asterisks on this one here. Gentleman was in the office the other day complaining about sewage running along 11 and 15 adjacent, and it's supposedly running across his driveway. It's adjacent to 1109 State Road. Now, we have that down here under new business, septic abandonment. So we can either take it now or later. It's up to you.
Do it now.
Do it now.
All right. In your packet, you have the Glaze Associates sanitary sewer lateral inspection for 1109 State Road. Tells you what it is, and there's a little note on the bottom where it says comments. Septic tank not pumped out yet. I think we're running into the same situation there that we had with the Tashak property. It fills up with rainwater whenever it rains hard, and it pushes out and it goes out onto the ground. Now, I don't know how to correct it. I mean, it's since 2008 is whenever the inspection was done. I do not know how to correct it. You know, since it's not been pumped out, I'm relatively sure that that's what the problem is. So,
Well, should we send them a letter first, saying something needs to be pumped out and backed up?
Who would have, they're on a grinder pump.
they
now,
are on
but
a grinder pump now, yes.
Who would have taken care of that? I mean, or should have taken care of that at the time? Would that have been the property owner?
The property owner, yes, and it is the same property owner.
Yeah. Well, I had to bust mine up and
We all,
when I had to be
And we're-
inspected.
all of us had to do that, with the exception
Well, why the
of
hell
this
didn't this guy
with the
do it?
exception of this project right here. Everybody else, everybody that's on the old systems and everything had to do that, with the exception of this. The Tashaks
And the letter directed.
and this property is not the only one down there that does not have the septic tanks abandoned properly.
Do we need to go back through these reports and see if, any of them got the note down at the bottom like that, and then go investigate them?
It would take some digging, I guess, to get them out of there.
Because what happened is, it should never been signed off until it was backed off.
I'm in agreement with you. That's some of the things that got dropped during the changeover from the municipal authority doing the inspections and the uniform construction code of inspection officers.
since this is the same owner, he still should know that he had the responsibility of doing that.
Yeah, I just sent him a letter telling him to.
He's in violation with septic running on the ground.
Is that our responsibility, or is it the SEO's responsibility?
I don't know. The SEO could certainly look at it.
I don't know.
That might be a more effective or efficient way of getting the problem solved.
We don't have responsibility for holding tanks, right? So, I mean, we don't have any responsibility for installing subsurface systems or anything like that, so.
Don't have any
So it sounds to me like
control
it's-
over porta potties,
Not our responsibility.
but it's still an issue that should be addressed.
Well, it's
I
a
don't-
town- it's a
I don't-
township
Is
issue,
this still
I
the
think.
same inspection?
sorry?
Still, is this still the same inspections agency now, or do we have a different?
I think it's a different one now.
Yes.
That's Glace, and I'm not too sure who does them now. Do you know who does them now? Who's the UCC codes inspector?
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
No.
I think that's David Tapman there.
That is Dave Matafka, yes. Glace, Glace Engineering.
I think it's Pennoni now.
You think? I don't know who does them now.
Yes,
Well-
you're right, Susan, it is Penn.
Why don't we send a letter to township supervisors explaining that, send a copy of that? And give that to them and ask them. To have their agency follow up on this, because we're pretty sure it's not been backfilled. Am I right? It used to be our responsibility.
It was our responsibility. Prior to this project down here, it was our responsibility. I'm not saying that project did it, it just happened to be in the time frame whenever the guys on Capitol Hill and the state figured, okay, now we're gonna get more uniform inspections of building. So, and the same,
Normal protocol for us is you showed them the pumping slip,
that's correct. They
proving
did,
that it was pumped, and the excavator, and the
and they called one of
excavation.
us, and they called one of us to get down there, whether it was Ed or me or Mr. Schaefer,
And the excavation contractor assured you that it was all being
Right.
taken care of.
and we watched them break it up, and we watched them fill it up, backfill it, and, and, yeah. But,
So the question for the supervisors is it the SEO's responsibility or is it the UCC to ensure that that was taken care of? Or was it the municipal authorities?
How about if we just send a letter to the township supervisors
Okay,
from the municipal authority explaining that, this is, the note on here says septic, and highlight that. Septic tank has not been pumped out yet, and it has not been pumped out to this day. And it's filling back up, and it needs to be pumped out by the property owner and taken care of. And since the inspection agency is the one underneath your realm,
so we believe it was the UCC should have followed through with that. Okay.
okay? I understand where it happened, why it happened, it was on the turnover of it, but still, it shouldn't,
At that point, shouldn't it be crushed?
Pardon me?
yes.
At that point, it should be crushed.
At that point, it should have been pumped out, it should have been crushed, and it should have
No, I
been
mean
backfilled.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it should be
yeah,
now.
it should be now.
Or you can get down, fill them full of sand, and as long as you verify that they're full of something. Maybe we fill them clean full of stone. It don't.
It is full of something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it needs to be filled up that it can't displace liquid. It needs to be filled full of anything. Can we see it, Karen, get a letter mailed to the township supervisors for that?
If we're gonna do that, why don't we just add to her a little bit and get her to go back and research all of them, and any of them that has a note on it, just include that. I mean, she's gonna.
Tell them, please verify these other ones
She's
that
gonna,
we
she's
will
gonna
find.
love me, she's gonna love me for that too. That's something that needs to be taken care of.
Or send that one in and let them know this is coming up, and we're in the research, and we're in the process of
You
researching the
can
rest
do
of
that,
them.
you can do that too, yeah.
Because this in here would be a good way of leading it on, and find out where it's gotta go.
Okay. This is a test case, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we may find out there's only 4 or 5 more, we may find out there's a dozen and a half of them, you know? Anything else?
No.
So we've got our 61.38% for the surveys. I really don't understand what the problem was, Elmer. Every time I went out, I had people readily give me information, and I had all that stuff. You must.
You said you got, I was keeping track of what you got. Don't give me an that.
Maybe, is it my looks that's helping, or what, Elmer?
That 45 you're wearing on your hip.
I did wear my ID badge. And,
I did too.
the only thing is, I haven't had a chance to talk to,
I did,
you did?
and I haven't heard anything back from him. He said, yeah, he says he can do it,
Okay.
but I don't know when. You
You know,
know,
why don't you guys, anybody that's available when he gets in there, talk to him, tell him to get the system set up, and tell him to schedule us in, and
You see these folks?
we'll show ourselves up for pictures.
I talked to Mr. Pickle, or Officer Pickle, about that.
I'd like to get one more picture before I start turning gray, you know?
You're a little
Yeah,
late.
me too.
It's coming faster than I want to admit it. Okay, that's it for the field representative. We'll move on to the next one. Master meter report.
There's nothing out of the ordinary there.
Okay. Penn Township Supervisor's report.
I don't have anything from the township at this point here, except for that, I do apologize for my absence the last several months, with vacation and other situations taking place, but, I have been reviewing the audios, and, I think we have a working relationship with the municipal authority, and I agree that with us being able to make sure we get each other's notes on a timely basis and stuff like that, and anything that would arise throughout the week or throughout the month that would change anything that was discussed here tonight, I would just ask, and I would just be given a call or being a note dropped in my box, you know, letting me know what's taking place with any of the changes or correspondence.
Okay.
Unless you have something for me, I would like to be excused.
Other than if you guys have any information that you feel is pertinent to us, your state of meetings and stuff, make sure that we get it carried back to us.
Yes, sir.
Communicate with us. Appreciate that.
How you feel?
Wonderfully good. Actually, I feel better since the accident. I think it gave me an adjustment.
Aligned everything else?
Yeah. So, their attorney had contacted me already, and I'm not into that, so. All right.
All right.
Good night, folks.
Take care. I'm gonna need about 3 minutes before we go in there. Or you can go to him, I'm gonna walk out here and I'm coming back.
Okay. All right, Dennis.
One thing, I did write to Linus Fenical South Owen, letting him know that there's nothing we can do about that particular issue. I haven't heard back from him yet. But while I'm on that, of course, Owen is the party that hasn't signed that joint lateral agreement. I did check with the recorder of deeds, and they won't index a document, without it being signed by those parties. So I can't short circuit the thing. I was hoping maybe there was a way of doing that. So we need to hit it head on, and I guess at this point it's an illegal situation, right? It's a joint lateral without an agreement, without approval, and I'll have to put some pressure on Mr. Owen.
Yeah, but I think every one we had an agreement with.
Yeah, I don't know of any that we didn't, and certainly it's better practice to do that, so we'll have more bad news for him. I wanted to get the first thing out of the way first, but
Well, the house is sold.
They sold it already?
Oh, yeah, it's
It's sold.
been sold for a month.
it hasn't settled though.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
The for
Well,
sale
that-
signage, I mean, it's.
That may be a good opportunity.
That's what I was starting to say too.
Was it with a realtor?
Yeah.
Who's it with?
Oh, geez.
Can you call me with that? or-
Yeah, I
Yeah,
if
if
send
you
you an
would.
email or give you a call or something.
Yeah,
That may be a way to talk to the
Yeah.
dealer and say that there would be,
that's gonna be that may be a blessing.
because there could be repercussions if it don't happen.
Yep. And they should know the situation too, for disclosure purposes. All right, yeah, if you can let me know whose sign is out there.
Bring you up to speed on that, Sam. Owen, Mount Penn?
Yes.
Okay, the building's supposed to be sold. So he's gonna see if he can't go in that direction upon settlement, that gets signed and agreed upon.
He built that as a spec, right?
That's correct.
what I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, okay. Well, that sounds like a promising approach. The collections, I brought 2 packets of papers up. We'll get up to the courthouse here in the next day or 2, hopefully, to start sales against 2 of the folks. I've got another 2 pretty much completed to send up too, so I'll get those up too. Well, either up here or up to the courthouse, probably within the next few business days. And then I'll have yet a few more to do. I'm still working on trying to get some payments from some of these lenders, but there's still a chance with the one, and unfortunately with the other one, I think we're gonna have to actually start the process before the bank may step in. So I'm working on them. It's, I've got a stack, unfortunately, to proceed with. I don't know, I guess did you all see the articles that have been in the paper?
Yeah, I did.
Delinquencies, holy
We're not the
smokes.
only ones.
Oh, man.
Which one was that?
Articles in the paper about people not paying their water.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Well, somebody should, I don't know who somebody is, but it wouldn't be a bad idea if they could have a legislator consider having some kind of, sponsoring a bill that perhaps would allow wage attachments for this kind of thing, because it's so chronic now that, and you're really, your hands are tied, you're limited in what you can do, and you've seen that. You're stuck with, trying to get through to sell somebody's house, and then you've got mortgage issues to deal with and other hurdles to get over, and if they would allow wage attachments, that would be that would be a good way to do it. There's very few times when they do. The child support, of course, is the one that most people are familiar with. Yeah, you can attach wages for that obligation, but something like that. That's the only thing I could think of that would be a better solution. Because boy, oh boy, it's something that won't get paid. That's what it is. But I'll have a whole slew of those. I'm just stacking them up and getting them going. I'm thinking that that's all I have right now. Oh, I know what, I know I was asked to look into if there's a possibility of the authority acquiring back EDUs that are needed by the person who purchased them or acquired them. I'm not finished looking at that, but I'm not very optimistic about it, let's say it that way. But I'll report back to you next month on it.
In other words, those that don't want to do it, you don't think that there's no way we can force them to do it, right?
I'm struggling with seeing a basis to do that.
All right.
I guess you could maybe try to fit it under some kind of eminent domain process, but it would be a taking essentially. And of course, when you do a taking, you have just compensation, you have to pay just compensation, but there'd be a way to measure that. I mean, that's the only way I can see.
Dennis, if you had, if I had 10 EEDUs and was paid for them, was using 2, and paying for 2, my usage,
Yes,
but I own 10,
yes.
and the authority now can't sell some to somebody and get rent off of the system because of that, you should be able to start charging me for the ones I'm yet not using that you have use for. In other words, I should have to start paying the rent on them, just like I was
Well,
using.
You know, maybe
You
that's.
can't make me sell them back to you.
Yeah, maybe that's the other approach to look at. That, we could think about that, think about a number of approaches. One would be that, I mean, adopting some kind of a rule that they expire if not put to use within a certain period of time. We have that by contract in some cases, but that was a negotiated agreement. In
It's
cases
also in
where
our rules and regs too.
in cases where we could try that approach, or we could try what Ed's mentioning. I suppose you could just say, we're taking them back and we'll pay you their current value. Because really you offered to do that, right? You offered to buy them back.
Yeah.
It would just be forcing that issue. It's just unusual to see eminent domain exercise other than for acquisition of real property or interest in real property. But there are some approaches here that may, how would I say it, incentivize or incentivize property owners to more seriously consider.
Once again,
unloading.
if I'm not paying for any use of them, and now the authority's losing money because they can't use them.
I understand the argument, and I do.
So I can't, I don't have to sell them back, but I have to
Right.
start paying for them.
Right. I can see how some people might say, because of the way my use works, you know, it floats around a bit, so I really feel like I need a cushion of a couple extra EDUs. And they may not want to part with them, and I can understand that, because if we force them to, then they don't have them, and then as soon as they need one, then they're going to be faced with the authority saying, well, if you need them, you're going to have to pay to upgrade our system. Okay?
I understand that.
And that's not necessarily fair either, but what you propose may be a middle-of-the-road approach that at least you have a revenue.
Here's
Right.
your choice. You can either sell them back to us, or you can start paying rent on them.
Yep. Let me ponder those options, and I'll report back to you. I think we can get it fitted in somehow that it would make some sense.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I can think of right now.
No. The ordinance for the turning over the grinder pumps if you're more than 3 months behind. We agreed to that last month. However, the wording that came back was not my intent. Whenever I made the motion.
I think I misread
You did.
what you wanted.
You did, and what we
I
approved.
thought it was only to apply
Yeah.
if the work
No.
needed to be done while they were
I don't know whether
gone.
you got them in there or not.
It's in the minutes.
Well, here's the email I sent you guys. It's got what was the wording that you adopted, the wording in the minutes.
Here's Dennis's new thing is the property owner who, upon adoption of this section, is 3 months in arrears on payment of sewer system usage charges, or who becomes 3 months in arrears after adoption of this section shall become permanently responsible for the repairs and replacement and the cost thereof of the grinder pump serving the property. If the authority pays or incurs any such cost or expense, the property owner shall reimburse the authority within 30 days after receiving an invoice. If the property owner fails to do so, the authority shall file and enforce a municipal lien against the property for the cost of the expense. Now, that's what I had in mind whenever I made the motion last month.
Now, those last two sentences are on there only as a precaution that if something slips through the cracks and you do make a repair, it gives you the ability to recoup it. They don't absolutely have to be on there if you prefer they not be. But the idea of this is once somebody, once somebody's 3 months back, right, that's it. From now on,
You're gonna find that's gonna change, we're gonna be giving up a lot of responsibility
everybody.
really quick.
well,
Night.
Hey,
Well,
Edward,
I
thank
guess-
you. Oh,
I guess I had a thought.
Is there a way that we're gonna be able to keep track of that, Susan?
Oh, Susan said, yeah.
You see where I'm going with that?
It's gonna be interesting to keep, and how about notice? When did you want that to
I
take
mean, is there a
effect?
way that you can put on their billing, you can put an asterisk on them that they're responsible or not responsible?
actually last
You
month.
see what I'm saying?
I can't, but,
But,
nowhere, unless it says there, nowhere in what you adopted last month does it say it's permanent.
That's right, that's why we have new language.
Okay, so you do it, somebody has new language,
Right.
okay, I don't have that, all right, okay, there is,
What the idea was to fix that
Okay.
deficiency.
And
And
you-
this, in my mind, though, would it be reasonable to get this out in a newsletter before you?
it's too late, newsletter went out, the newsletter had to be ready at last month's meeting,
When's the next one go out?
next spring.
Next spring.
I don't know if there's any other way to communicate it, but.
can you put a note in the bottom of your bills?
I get 50 to 60 characters, that's about it.
Okay.
No, you don't have to, I'm just saying, people might say, gee,
If you,
I
it'd
didn't
be
know this
simple,
was.
if you become delinquent, you take possession of Roundabout.
3 months. We give you 3 months.
If you become delinquent is 3 months.
Yep.
Now, she did send them out. Sam had her send letters out, I didn't see them.
Oh, they went, you did.
Letters
send
are
them.
out.
Sam told her to send out letters, so in this thing
Oh,
somewhere.
okay, well, you've already put them on those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's fine.
It's just that it's.
If
it
the
might not
language
be-
is a little different,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
Okay, so do you wanna amend your,
I want to amend my motion
of last month?
to what this says.
Adopt this new language
Right,
to
yeah,
replace the
and
language
you
previously.
did that.
Right, yep.
In other words, you're gonna replace section 3241.
Yes.
It was, okay.
With that.
With new language that indicates that once they're 3 months delinquent, it's a permanent responsibility shift.
And it doesn't matter at the time, it doesn't start at the time of the repair, because that was
It
in
won't
your,
matter anymore.
Okay.
And my point of that is, we, the municipal authority, should not be spending any more money to service a building where the
People
resident of that
paying.
building is not contributing to the system, to the upkeep of the system.
I agree.
I don't disagree.
Okay, do you need this reread? Is everybody in agreement with what you? Okay, do I hear a motion? Sam made the
I made the motion.
To amend it, do I hear a second?
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Give it to me, I'll put the Susan.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Twice while
Yeah, that's gonna shift
Hmm?
a few more.
Your son went home twice while I
That's what
was.
she thinks
A
around.
couple of dozen of them real quick.
there has already been,
Okay.
somebody has already told their neighbor who came in and told us that they will not repair theirs.
Wow.
They will use their septic system.
Oh, really?
And it was the person who you just had the little thing from that you're sending.
1109.
I'll be darned.
Yep, they told their, when
Ironic, isn't it?
Yes, isn't that clever?
that they're not going to pay for the repair,
That's right, we'll just use the septic system. All right.
which is probably all the more reason to have Karen make that. All of the connection permits, we found them everywhere in the office. So one of Karen's jobs was to arrange them alphabetically by whoever applied for the permit. And with it is the connection permit, and then we matched up the inspection permits
Right.
that we could find.
Mhm.
And they should all be there for the Perdix thing. So it's just a matter, she's just gonna have to go, there's like 6 volumes, but that's okay. You just start going through the system, she just goes through and looks for
Yeah.
That guy.
that thing that you
Well,
have
pick up
there
as
that
many-
says it wasn't, and then she
Pick
makes a
up
note
as
of the
many as
name.
you can. I don't quite understand what happened there. Somebody was out and inspected and said it's not yet been,
Has not as yet been put.
okay. But I guess that suggested that they expected that it would be, but nobody.
Nobody followed
Nobody,
up.
right, so it
That's their job.
died on the
And that
vine.
was his job to make sure it was done.
Well, should it have been done when he was out there?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so he should have never let that slide.
No.
All right.
Yep. Anything else for Dennis? All right, treasurer's report. Keep this thing moving, get out of here before 9.
Delinquent accounts,
No better than before. Water's a little better, but.
Wow. I'm looking at 800 and 163.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see who,
Same people.
Yep. Many people, different month.
water, the ones, the two that are in
One's
bold.
water, one's sewer.
that's the one I in fact finished up the paper. I just didn't get it quite ready to bring up tonight, but I have the sale proceeding paperwork ready. That's the one that I talked to the lady at the bank today. They paid it before, as you recall, when it was way
The bank
back.
paid it.
The
Yes.
bank paid it.
Yes.
I mean, they paid the better part of $30,000.
How in the hell can a bank afford to do something like that?
Well,
Can't
so I
take it.
said, we're getting right back, and she's sort of deferred, and then today I called her, I said, we're moving forward on it, and she said, thanks for the heads up, and I said, I guess that means that you're not doing anything, and she said, well, I'm not doing anything yet. I said, okay, so we're gonna have to file, and who knows? They're not gonna keep doing that forever, they're never gonna get their money back out.
No, it's just
Yeah.
moving that
Right.
from one association to another.
See 1159 down there in the bottom. I could also say 1109.
Yep, that one's one that she's got, I just brought up tonight, 1159.
1159 and 1024 are the two that are sitting here.
And there'll be, most of the other relatively large ones will be coming up, with the exception of Cassia, which I guess, and a number are in bankruptcy, so we can't do anything about it. But we'll get action on, a good 10 of them probably will be proceeding.
So in a bankruptcy, we usually get paid, or we only get paid partially, or what?
Usually get paid,
Usually
it's
get
just a
paid?
matter of when.
When.
Yeah, some of these folks will have a 5-year reorganization plan where it's gonna dribble in
Yeah.
over a long period of time.
Well,
Yeah, they can't generally discharge it on, because it's a government lien.
It seems like you're knocking your head against the wall,
Well, yeah, you think, somebody bails it out, they get it paid current, you think, well, and then it's 3 months later, we're right back where we were.
But if you're gonna pay it for me, why should I have to worry?
Huh?
I'll get on the phone, Dennis is gonna pay again, you know?
List of bills?
Take a look where it's at. Once we do the last pages here is when we have all these problems.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Up that point, the delinquencies weren't like that.
No, you're right, that's the bulk of them.
I mean,
You're always gonna have some, there's no way you're,
Hard times come to people.
yes, yes.
You see what happened between then and now. I mean, that's whenever everything collapsed and all the went through the roof.
and nobody's coming in and talking to us either.
No.
Saying, get my feet back on the ground, you just do that, blah, 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 blah. They don't,
Well,
we've done
some
them.
of them will do those agreements, but, then we have people that do them and miss, after making 2 or 3 payments, they miss one. And it doesn't take long for it to get out of whack.
Out of control.
Can we move on to the bills?
Yep, let's move on.
There are 2 checks there that are large. Duncannon Borough for $36,807. That was for the Market Street project, manhole 144 to 146. The check was made out to them because that's the way the borough manager wanted it. So that one was signed and has been delivered. You had approved that at the JOAC meeting. Then there's a check to the PennDOT for $34,100. You need to look at that because you were questioning what might be included with the bill. You know, something about that line and that whatever.
That manhole.
Yeah, so before, make sure that you want that check given out to them. There's also, Dennis needs 4 checks. I have to go up to New Bloomfield tomorrow with him. We need 2 checks for $750 that'll be shown next month. But tonight I'll need to type them and get somebody to stamp them before they leave. And we need 2 checks to the Prothonotary for $28.85 so that we can get 2 of these people processed. So
What's that bring the final total to?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what 750 and
That's all right.
715. Another $1,556. Another
Yep.
$1,557, something like that. If you want in the minutes, I'll see that it gets added on, but usually what I put is the total and then just say that, we ask for these checks and you'll see them they'll be part of next month's bill or next month's total.
So the 34-1 is for
That was,
laying under the bridge?
yes, for
and-
hanging
and-
your
the sewer line.
Mhm.
And the one for Duncannon Borough is for what?
That was for your share of the Market Street project where they dug up the line.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, okay.
There's no extras on that.
I thought it was both the bridge, and
Sam.
okay.
I didn't see no extras on that. It was just, that was the quoted stuff beforehand.
All right.
Yeah, but how much of that is ours and how much of it is Duncannon's is where I'm going.
What do you mean? I mean, we should have documented, this should be what we originally agreed to pay months ago. If I'm not mistaken,
Which one you got up there?
the one for the bridge.
Bridge?
We knew what that was gonna be before.
That was what they quoted, and the repairs to that manhole was not included in that, is that what you're telling me?
I'm pretty sure, it's.
Well, if you're satisfied with it,
Here's
that
what
is
it
what they
says.
quoted, then I
It
don't
says
have a problem.
contract item, $34,100. It don't list any other specialty items. Our contract agreement was
Yeah,
for one price, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
If it was
right.
more than the contract, they'd have more in here than that.
all right.
We signed a contractual agreement with them.
I don't remember that ever crossing in the minutes where we ever talked about the price, because when I got that bill, I was
We made an
surprised.
approval that we would agree to pay them whatever it was, remember
Right.
that, Alan?
I know I know that you made the motion to do the work, but I don't know that I ever heard a figure.
Yep,
I don't remember either, but.
yeah, it was 100% funded. We
What
could
is that,
question.
your 30-some%?
No,
Oh.
this is 100%. This is going across the new bridge,
Oh, I got, okay.
okay? So,
Yeah, this is the PennDOT.
this is the PennDOT.
Yeah. I know we had an agreement with them, we signed an agreement.
Any other adjustments should have
Oh,
been
yeah.
separately from the other contractor directly to Duncannon, the way I would see it. We can double check at the JOAC meeting, Sam, you know what I'm saying? They might not be able to tell us, but at least we can get an
Well,
inquiry.
we have the agreement here in the office somewhere.
Yeah.
Should be around, I don't know where it's at though.
All right, so
Motion to pay the bills totaling $124,669.13 and the additional
checks
five-
for there's
Additional-
four checks for
and the additional 4 checks that Susan just
Yeah.
mentioned.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
And regular move and second to pay the bills. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do those tonight because I need to get them up to New Bloomfield. I'm going to use the rubber stamps, if that's okay with Elmer.
Mhm.
You can
And,
get them ready, I'll sign them tonight.
yeah, well, it's gonna take me a while. This, but yes, all right, I will do that. All right, if you're willing to stick around, I'll get them done.
You can use my stamp. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Financial report. On the back side, on the bottom right-hand corner, the project reserve outflow breakdown, I worked on that this past week to see that that is up to date as far as 8/31. And that includes this month's bills. So, for example, you have $150,000 left for the water system. You have spent $53,000 so far this year. So if you were doing the water system right now, you have the $150,000. There's still $223,000 available in project reserve, plus you have the money from CBG year 1 and year 2.
Now, are we sending, are we getting any of that money?
Well, no, I don't know
Yeah.
how you get it. I really don't. They don't just send you a check for it. I think
I think you have to submit your checks and then they reimburse you.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works.
So we have $50,000 we could be reimbursed for right
100,
now?
no, there's more than that.
No, reimbursed from the county money that
We
we already
agree,
No,
have.
there's more.
if it's engineering fees, we agree to pay all engineering fees.
Oh, as part of our.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Which we're gonna be, there's what I was just gonna ask Susan. Just for my curiosity, and it might be good for the rest of everybody, if you can send us an email in regards to that.
Well, I will tell you right now, out of all of this Sunshine Hill water system upgrade, with the exception of, all right, I'll get you that.
Okay, just send us an email if you will.
Yes, I will. Almost all that is engineering.
Yes.
Dennis has a little bit,
Yes, but it should all be engineering.
but almost all of that is engineering.
I would really like to see where that's gonna go, because I think that could have make us make a decision whether we wanna make a change or not make a change in the coming years.
I think they estimate engineering, what, 10% of the cost of the
I think
project?
that's something like that, yeah. I think that's what he told me it was.
All right, anyway.
Wanna make sure he's staying honest, do you understand what I'm saying?
I just wanted you to know,
Cause it's gonna be watched also.
You know it's gonna be watched. Motion to accept the financial report subject to audit.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded, except
Financial report.
financial report, subject to audit. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Executive Secretary report. Anything from Karen?
How about the audit acceptance letter?
All right, you had approved the auditor for another 3 years. This is their agreement stating that you're accepting it. I was told when she sent me the cover letter that I sign it under management as treasurer, and we need somebody from the authority to, and since Henry, you're signing everything else, we just need your signature and your title on that. So I'll put that on your pile.
Needs a motion for him to approve that.
No,
I hear a motion.
I don't think you need to, you already approved,
did.
you already approved
The auditors.
the auditors
this is
for the
new.
next 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just their acceptance of,
Okay.
This is just the paperwork that follows up afterward.
yeah, it's our understanding that we're to do this, 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 and this is what
Okay,
it says.
all right.
Okay. Executive Secretary, we got a thank you letter from her. It it's a little bit late because it was in last month's notices and we did not go through our incoming correspondences. So I think it would be a good idea that at least one of us make sure we go through the incoming correspondences on a monthly basis to see something, might be something in there that could get our attention.
We did hurt her feelings.
Yes.
We did
And
hurt her feelings.
It's not a very good thing. She does all her time putting the paperwork together, and then we don't even look at the paperwork and the time and the energy we're paying her to do it. Or we would have seen that card a month earlier for her, so. We have no report from her either. Okay, JOAC meeting, September 8th, 6:30 PM here. And if there's anything to be discussed, we will have a meeting
Are
afterwards.
you gonna mark that up for that question that we had about the manhole, to make sure that's?
I already got who
Okay.
pays for existing drop repair,
Okay.
okay? I will question that, it's on my, okay?
I won't be able to make that meeting, so.
Okay. Incoming, outgoing correspondences. Anything else in there that's seen? Periodicals, old business, CGBG grant update. I think we've kind of beat that with a horse already tonight. We don't seem to know too much. The only thing we can do is hope that it comes through. We did our part. I thank everybody for stepping up and putting the time and energy to go out and get the paperwork done. We've only got them there. The next time we do something like that, there was no way for us to even fill out non-issued ones because we didn't know which ones were filled out and which ones, you know.
Well, the thing is
we
with
did
that
not
is
have a
they
checkoff
did-
list.
Well, they did not give us the entire area right off the bat.
Yep.
So.
They didn't give us the picture right off the bat.
Yeah,
in
so
my
that
opinion.
gives us, you know, that put us behind the 8 ball right off there. 'Cause
It
you
seemed to
know-
be a little bit better organized the last time we did
Yeah.
it before this one, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Well, that was because we knew we had to do all of them. We didn't let, you know, it wasn't a selected group and then another selected group and then another selected group, which actually took us out there more times than what we would have had to.
We
Had they given us, in
Done a
my
lot of
opinion,
time.
had they given us all of them
Lot
at the
of
worst
time.
time, we could have gotten it done a long time ago. But anyway, that's not
Probably was
here.
the better part of 6 months to get through that, wasn't it?
Every bit.
Seemed like it.
Every bit.
Ownership of grinder pumps, took care of that one. Maintenance agreement, we talked to that one. Ordinance regarding wellhead protection.
I'm not too sure exactly what Ed was talking about with that one.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, that's a difficult thing to get, I mean, it's very complicated.
Do you think we need to address that after we get our water system
I
up to
think
par?
we need to put that on the back burner because, right now, because,
Well, let's just take it off the list altogether then.
you know.
We won't have to mess with it.
We'll have, yeah, because there's a lot involved in that
All
whole
right.
business.
Okay, status of the Tashik demolition.
Should have asked Supervisor Peters.
I see they're still down there burning trash. Whether they got it or whatever, I don't know.
Who's doing what?
Who's stamping?
Yeah.
It's his turn?
What?
Yeah. Sign them or stamp them.
Okay.
I think you ask who's doing it. It's,
Or the other way.
I'm gonna say it's Karen's boyfriend. It's a male friend of Karen's, let's put it that way. Who is doing the tour down there. And the gentleman that lives catty corner from him, can't think, his
You
name's
can
Schaefer.
take that
I
paper
think.
clip off, because I've got all four of them
And
together.
the other
They don't need
neighbors
to be
right
clipped
there. So it's
together,
all,
no.
it's like a
It's a
community.
community gathering.
It's a community effort to get this done for.
Well, you got your grind, the pump's out of there, right?
Yes, the grinder pump is out of there.
So, I mean, you're not gonna get your money out, it's hopefully.
Well, when we send the letter out for that other one, we ought to send a request for this one to make sure that tank's demolished at the same time.
wonder
Okay?
That was supposed to have been done,
Mm-hmm.
because he called me and asked me about it. And I told him he had to go through the SEO because that was a township issue at that
But
time.
we need to have the information given back to us
Right.
too, okay?
Right.
So
I
that
agree
would
with
be, those two, we might as well make sure there's a letter sent out to both, or sent to the township supervisors in regards to both of them.
Right.
Okay,
And see where it
so
goes.
the 1109 and the Tashak property.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do both of them,
Okay.
okay? Long-range project plans.
And that's the one there, if anybody can come up with anything long range other than the water company, that we need to put on there, we'll just put it on and then go from there, and we can get together sometime. And just ideas and all that.
I mean, we can put a line upgrade down opposite from Roars as a possible project. That was 60 or, yeah, it was there was a number on that, we already.
Yeah,
had
there
numbers
was, but
there.
I don't know exactly what that number was anymore. Yeah.
I mean, we could suggest a number of approximately 60,000 on that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Even if we just do the tie-in down at the road and have the valve there for the future, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That opens up, changes the EDU structure in that whole area then. Adjustments, well, we can't really adjust anything to treatment plants. So we can't really, start making them structural upgrades to them. Okay. I think basically the water system at the present moment is the overall big project. That's
Absolutely.
that's a 5-year project as it is.
Absolutely, yes. Mhm.
With the amount of money that we're gonna be spending,
Yeah.
so. All right, new business.
Now, I got one other thing for old business. I've received a call from Rob Schaefer regarding that Curlin property, north of above the north crossing. He asked if there was capacity in the low pressure line to accommodate a connection there. And I informed him that Mr. Curlin needed to set up an escrow account, and PTMA would then ask for an engineer to do an evaluation on that. Susan, do you know whether,
No,
okay,
I mean, yes, the answer is no, they did not.
okay, okay.
I'm gonna assume that one EDU ain't gonna hook that in there, but the biggest thing I got concerned about is the line size and the distance, and
I agree with you. I think we can handle that,
oh, I missed one.
Yes, you did.
You think about that, if you look at it, they're going down through there, you have the Sitco station that's one EDU or 2 EDUs that's not being used. And then coming up, you have all those EDUs that are purchased for that line for sheets that's not being used. So one EDU in there right now will not hurt them. It's just
And
if-
we
if-
also,
if-
we
if-
already
if-
purchased 2 on the other side of the road.
Right, and it's just if anything comes in between there and any of those other ones pick up, that might jeopardize that. That's why I didn't want to tell him, yeah, go ahead and do it. So, at any rate, we're just waiting on to see what Mr. Curlin wants to do.
That may drag out too.
Well, I'm sure it will. But I'm thinking that's his initiative though, because he
Right.
wants to sell that property. All right, that's the only thing that's keeping him from selling that property. So I'm thinking if he really wants to do it, he's gonna,
Move
Yeah.
forward with it, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, the abandonment of septic, we already discussed that. Electronic water meters, talk to me, Sam.
Nope, that's Susan.
Susan.
Last Thursday or Friday, 2 gentlemen came in gung-ho to sell us electronic water meters that you can read while you drive by your car, And Karen looked at them and said, I like my exercise. And I said, man, we don't have anything budgeted for that, plus you're going to have to upgrade my software. I'll have to upgrade my billing software to be able to input this stuff. Companies do have these. And he did say it's compatible with mine. I put it on here because they want to be on the agenda really bad next month, and there's no point in wasting their time, because Karen and I would like to recommend that we keep them as it is. but
Well,
that's our,
what I was gonna suggest here is look at maybe for the new system, you might wanna look at something like that, but if they're happy with the status quo, I don't see a problem with that.
Do they-
Karen likes the exercise. She said there's only 100 customers. She likes the exercise. She said that, and she likes to talk to the people.
And what's
The-
what we charge her? What, I mean,
You pay her $100 a quarter.
$100 a quarter to read the meters,
Yeah.
a quarter.
Yeah, that's what you've always paid Shade. You paid him
Okay.
$200. Once was for lot maintenance. It was
So it's $400 a year.
Yes.
It's probably gonna cost us buku more than that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's probably gonna take you,
Yeah.
if it's
And
$1,200, it's gonna take you 4 years to recoup.
'Cause you're
About
gonna-
3 years to recoup.
you're gonna have to put new meter heads on them, and you're
Yeah.
gonna need to spend a couple thousand for to upgrade the software.
Do they have a battery? Is that how those things operate?
I don't know. I know PPNL does it by you drive by.
If
Yeah.
they're like the ones in the city of Harrisburg, they have a battery.
Oh, that's right. You have to replace a battery.
The batteries went dead and well,
never
the city
replaced
didn't
them.
have any money to do anything about it. So they give everybody an estimated bill and then you get a reading and you find out you owe, whatever, $800 in utility bills.
You get on the list.
Yeah.
We put these gentlemen on the list on the agenda for next month.
Well,
But Karen and I
they-
talked about it, saying, why waste our, we,
What they should have done is give us a rough itinerary so we can read it here, save them their trouble and our trouble, and we say, yes, we agree, no, we agree. I mean, they need to explain this electronic device. Like you said, is it battery powered? Does it work off a low voltage? Do they gotta tie into a 110 outlet on the owner's property? Does this all consist of?
all right, so do you want them to come? We can keep them let them come next month.
I mean, tell them that our operating costs are pretty dang low at the present moment. We really don't see an issue about it. If you wish to come in and speak your piece, you're welcome, but, we're probably not really interested,
Well-
unless it's gonna be a dramatic way of saving us massive amounts of money.
No.
But I don't see
We're not
that.
It
spending
does-
massive amounts of
Yeah,
money as it is.
It takes me maybe an hour. You're paying me $13 an hour. It probably takes me an hour to enter her readings. All right, so you're paying me $13 to put them in the computer. The computer does all the legwork. It's not going to change the amount of time it takes to print the bills, tear them apart, put stamps on them. But you're going to spend money to upgrade the system.
Not only that, you're gonna need to gonna need to buy the reading equipment.
Device.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
device itself.
You'd have to see what your.
Yeah, you're going to have to
break-even
change
period
each
is.
meter. You have
It's gonna be out there.
100 and some meters you're going to have to change.
Now, we have an external one right now, right?
That's
Right,
correct.
and she just go, yes.
Now, how they work?
There's a little button there on the side of the wall, you just put it on it, you push a button,
Yeah.
and it reads out.
Yeah.
And when that one goes, this one works all the time, all right? But when this one goes dead, you just change the batteries in it.
It's an external battery in it?
It's just regular, double A batteries, 2 AA's.
The water meter itself will read all the time.
The water
It's-
meter
it's
runs
the
all the
handheld
time,
unit
because
that-
that's working off of 2 dissimilar metals,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, how does this thing work? Nobody has to go around and even
What
click
would-
on it.
Yeah, the way this
Yeah.
one works is you do it from your car. You just drive by and it gets the readings.
It's like me sitting out in front of your house stealing your Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah,
But
right.
somebody still has to go to buy the property.
They have to drive by, yeah.
They have to drive by, but you're gonna have to, the authority's going to have to spend money to retrofit all of the water
Yeah, I
meters.
would say.
And I just don't see that you
what
have the
break
money.
even would be on the upfront cost, but.
Leave it the way it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Long.
All right,
can't-
I'll
I
call-
can't see
I got
them
one other
spending a
thing
half
for new
hour in
business.
here.
One other thing for new
Yeah,
business,
you-
right before I
you
was
would
called,
be at
and
least
this
that. Yeah.
goes along with the for the JOAC discussion. Right before I came up here today, I got a phone call at the house. Gentleman lives at 1001 High Street. Called me and he says his sewer backed up and made a mess in his house. So he called Duncannon Borough. Duncannon Borough manager said it's not Duncannon Borough's issue, it's a Penn Township issue, because Penn Township is doing unauthorized work at that manhole. All right?
What?
It come to find out that this was done by Navtech, and they were doing a low pressure flush for some kind of evaluations for stone mill
What?
Without our permission.
without our permission. Apparently, without Duncannon's permission. My issue with that is Duncannon Borough's manager said it was a Penn Township issue. We did it. We authorized it. They did. Duncannon Borough did not authorize it. That's my issue. All right?
Well, my
She should
issue
not-
is.
So
she should
neither
get
of us,
told-
Neither one of us knew what was happening.
Well, hell,
But it went away, the problem went away then, right?
Yeah, and now he's got to clean his house.
And what was Navtech doing? I'm sorry, I wasn't writing fast enough.
He said, the guy that called me said he went out and he talked to him, was Navtech, said that they were doing a low pressure flush for the new housing development.
Okay.
where was this at
Does
now?
that make any sense?
1001 High Street, it's the intersection of High Street and Cemetery Road.
By the Catholic Church, just up from right across. from-
Cemetery Road is where.
Yeah, right there by Lions Club.
Yes,
Yeah.
at the Lions
Yeah.
Club.
See, that's where they're planning on coming across it up on the hill and tying into us up at, up on Eisenhower, up in the corner by
So they'll bring it
Johnson's.
down by,
Drag it down, and if they come down that leg, it comes down, it goes across, and it comes down
Cross and then
Cemetery
Why
Street.
would they be doing a little?
Well, let's put it this way. We need to send a letter to whoever, I guess the developer, and explain to him that he does not proceed anywhere without clearance with Duncannon and Penn Township.
Oh, well, yeah, if they're working on our manholes within our system, they have to clear it with us,
Okay.
and if they're working any place in Duncannon's system,
Due
they
to
need to
your
clear it with us.
inefficiencies, we've had complaint.
well, whose
Okay.
manhole was it in?
Duncannon's.
Duncannon.
Borough.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy.
Does it make sense that they would be doing that? As part of their-
No, it doesn't make any sense that they do it without anybody's
Sam.
knowledge.
Not without
No, but
telling
we-
anybody, anyway.
Sam,
Does it make any
can
sense
we
anyway
turn
right
around and
now?
create
There's
a letter
nothing
and
going
send
on
it
with the
to
No.
Mr. Yanks in regards to this problem?
Well, I would think our secretary should be able to put one together for that, yeah.
Let's do that and explain that and tell him that this cannot happen again. If there's something that needs to be communicated, please let Penn Township and Duncannon Borough know.
Yep.
Mm.
Anything above and beyond that, you will be held responsible for any and all.
I think they're responsible for
They should be.
cleaning that guy's
Yeah.
house
Yeah,
up.
right now.
Yeah, I don't even care if you write that down, but I think we need to have a letter from Karen in regards to that. You understand what I'm trying to say, Susan?
Duncannon assumed that it was somebody.
I'll tell you what, if that would have been my house, that'd been hell to pay.
Oh
Excuse
my
my
God.
French.
That's kind of outrageous, really, it really is.
I mean, they should have known the consequences.
I would thought. But I've never had a flush. I've never flushed a line where we pushed that much pressure back that it went back into the building and screwed things up in the buildings. Now, I don't know how they did it.
Well, I hope, did he tell these people they had a problem?
Yeah,
He told them that it's coming up in his house?
yep.
Okay, well, maybe that fails the report, so that means that report's non-functional because they can't put it in that system.
Say that?
Well, if evidently what they were testing made a valve problem, they may not be able to dump any more into it.
That's true.
But we need to send the letter out to Mr. Yanks with whoever he had down there doing his services,
Navtech.
Navtech.
Yeah.
Can you take a look at that, Sam, or do you want me to take a look at it?
I can help.
You understand what I'm saying?
That happened today.
Yes.
I mean, this developer just can't come in here and do what he wants. It's just not gonna be. Without letting us know what's going on. It's a shared system. It's a shared line.
Does it go to Inks or his, I don't know what his,
Well,
I don't know
would
his
start-
solicitor's
Yeah, I
name.
would start with is it Navtech?
Navtech.
Yeah, I would try to find out, I mean, before we go pointing
No.
fingers. You had the finger pointed at you and you didn't do it.
We are
Let's
sure
make
it's
we
for
know
the developer though,
Yeah.
right?
That's what the,
It
that's
is the
what the
developer's
that's what the man told me.
It is the developer's responsibility because he hired these people to do the work. Am I right?
Well, yeah, if we're sure that that's
If you're sure that that's who it is.
who did it. and-
That's why I say it's gotta be something for the for our JOAC meeting, we gotta keep those folks posted too. And let them know that.
Do we
it
wanna
was-
hold off till next
Let
month?
them know that
Do
it
we
was.
wanna hold off for
Well,
a week?
let's do a little bit more investigation on it
Okay.
before we hop on it. But we gotta let the folks in Duncannon know that it was not us.
Right.
I mean, there's still scars from our last fight,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna make them any worse than what they are. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, we don't want them back the way things were. We
No.
want to keep
No.
things the way they are. All right, sit tight on that, Susan,
Right.
okay? Anything else?
No. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Very second that we adjourn. All those in favor give consent, say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded it? Not that it matters.
They're fighting over in that corner. Just pick one.
Just pick one, don't matter.
That kind of pressure test, I mean, would that make sense as part of their planning? But at
Well,
this
you know, I wanna
point,
see
when
how
they're-
much more
we
they
don't
can
even know
probably
if
wanna
it's
see
a
how much
viable
more they can put in.
project.
They want to see how much they can dump in. Evidently, they found out there is a limit.
But I wonder why they're doing it now.
I'm sorry?
When there's nothing
You pull
going
that
on.
pipe and go back. Maybe there's gonna be a big push.
Because, listen,
Deep hole.
they proposed
Down
a
there, you're probably, you're,
wet well, the top.
Oh, yeah,
of the
no, we're
system.
good. Until he's ready to
Do that.
use the system,
So
you
they
go ahead and
needed
do what
to
you wanna
establish
do.
a flow rate.
You
They
know,
were- They were doing their
But,
own.
but
And really,
before you-
I'm
They might
on
not be
that
too
phone call,
happy
you have
about
to
their
open that
rate.
valve. My problem is,
Because
I
it'll
got
sit there and
is
it'll just
that
eat
they should
itself
have never
up.
been nowhere
Yeah,
near
we'll get a
it.
heads up
They
on
should have
it.
went through us, and the engineer should have communicated.
Yipper.
All right, what do I need here, Susan?
Have to know better than that.
Yeah.
I'll send you an email with that,
Yeah, if you would, yeah, that's.
Now, the reason that
actually
phone
good
call
news.
wasn't any worse than what it was.
I'd rather not have to deal
Oh,
with
really?
Mr. Oh, and we might be able to just get around that.
Yeah. But that is a nice
He
house.
said, but I want, he
Was
said,
it?
Oh,
I
yeah.
talked to NAVTech, and then I called the Duncannon Borough.
It's
and
first
Duncannon
class
Borough didn't
everything.
know, Said it's not their issue, that it's Penn Township's issue. So I
you
called
look
up
for
there,
it. I think
and
you
your
went-
name
I
came
think
up
you
on
started
their
out
recording,
at
so I
290.
said, "What?"
Oh.
I think he sold it on
Ready to leave for
265.
Municipal.
Here and here.
That's up there pretty good.
No, it is pretty outrageous.
Up my, cause I walked right down on it.
Yeah. I won't be
So
there.
I gave him Alpha Engineering's
value.
phone number,
Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
and, you know, contact
Do you
Todd
know
Wilson, let him know.
See you, folks.
If she
Mike.
notarized
Dennis,
something,
take care of me.
once
Careful.
we weren't here.
will.
What's this?
Yeah.
Something has to be notarized, and we had something else notarized.
Up the hill.
Was it your
Hey,
signature?
how you been feeling?
Might have been, if she needs me here, I can come up, it don't make no
Getting
difference.
better?
She's,
What's wrong with her?
Okay,
Oh,
so
hell,
we
she's
need
got
here
problems
she
too.
was in bed for
And,
4 or
okay,
5
you gotta
days.
be here,
Couldn't walk.
all those.
Finally got up.
Sign your name, print your name,
Yeah, but
you know,
no.
all that.
And it seems to have helped now, but that was like 4 weeks ago, was
Yeah.
there about? Now it's just now kicking in real good.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys working too damn hard.
I'm going to multitask while you do
She
that.
works too damn hard in the yard, I can't do all